Now, goddamn it. If I cut this goddamn paper, my family, and then my mama come in and get another fucking family, and that's on that side.
I thought you had the same mama.
It's coming out of the same pussy, but the same dick ain't going in there to make it. You got different fucking bloodline going through that motherfucking pussy. Now, goddamn it. If I cut this goddamn paper, my family, and then my mama come in and get another fucking family, and that's on that side.
I thought you had the same mama.
It's coming out of the same pussy, but the same dick ain't going in there to make it. You got different fucking bloodline going through that motherfucking pussy.
Okay, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all honor, praises, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rekakadash, and double honors and respect to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me this truth, as well as much respect and honors to the brothers that are pushing this truth in sincerity across the four winds of this earth and risking their lives and freedom to do so. I would also like to give much honors and respect to the brothers and sisters that are of the hope for the elect, that are doing their very best to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High to the best of their abilities. Shalom. I saw this short video right here, and I just thought that I would bring out a quick lesson. In this short video, you have an older Jake right here, and what he was saying made a lot of sense. Okay, actually what he was saying was biblically correct. Okay, in so many words, what this older Jake was basically trying to say is that the man determines the nationality of a child. Okay, and he's correct with that, because a man does determine the nationality of the child. The man has the seed. Okay, the woman has the egg. And whenever a man and a woman come together, okay, the man, he inserts that seed into that woman. And that seed will eventually find its way into that egg. Okay, and that egg acts as an incubator. And so that seed will continue to grow in that woman, and eventually a child is born. Okay, and that child is that man's seed. Okay, because that child comes from that man's loins. And so therefore the man determines the nationality of that child. And this is why, in many cases, for the most part, the children usually get the man's last name, because those children are that man's seeds. Okay. But here it is, you have a lot of our people, they'll get it confused. A lot of our people, they'll think that the woman, or that, a child's, pedigree or nationality or bloodline is determined by the woman. And that's not true, because again, the woman has eggs and the man has the seed. Okay. And so, with this, I saw this, this short video. And again, as I was saying, I just thought that I would bring out a quick lesson. I actually only have one scripture that I'm going to bring out, and then we will end the lesson. And this is in the book of Numbers, and this is chapter 1, and this is verse 18. And it reads, "And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month. And they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names from 20 years old and upward by their posts." Okay. And see again, the man determines the nationality of a child. Okay. And as I was saying, this is why, for the most part, children usually get the man's last name, because those children are that man's seeds. Okay. Now, speaking of seeds, an example would be, let's just say if you have an apple seed, when you decide to go to, let's just say China, and you decide to go to China and you decide to plant that apple seed in China, what you're going to get is you're going to get an apple tree. Okay. Or let's just say you decide that you don't want to go to China and you decide you want to go to Africa instead. And so you go to Africa and you plant that seed over in Africa. You're going to get an apple tree. The same thing. Okay. And, it's the same thing with the man. The man has the seed. And so let's just say if a man, deals with a Moabite woman. Let's just say if you have an Israelite man and he deals with a Moabite woman and he has a child with that Moabite woman. Okay, that child is going to be an Israelite because of that child's father. Now, that child may take on, physical characteristics, of that woman. That child may even look a lot like that woman, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how the child looks. Okay, because that child is that man's seed. And so that seed comes from that man's loins. And so according to Numbers 1 and 18, that child that the Israelite man had with that Moabite woman would be an Israelite because that child's father is an Israelite. It doesn't matter how the child looks, okay? It goes back to the seed line, okay? And that child, okay, goes back to the seed line of an Israelite man. Now, here it is, back during, hardcore slavery, when we were in hardcore slavery, you had these devils, you had these Edomites. They were taking advantage of our women. They were having their way, with our women. And as a result of that, they were having children, okay, with the slave women. Okay. And so, with that being said, those children, in many cases, they may have looked like they may have had melanin. They may have had curly hair. They may have looked like Israelites. But, they went back to the seed of those Edomites. And so therefore, those children were Edomites. I guess you would call them chocolate covered Edomites. But at the end of the day, they were Edomites because they go back to the seed of Esau, And, this older Jake in the video, he had mentioned something else about, if a woman, has dealt with two men and she's had, children with those two men, those children would be from two separate bloodlines or two separate families or two separate seed lines. And he was correct with that. He was absolutely correct with that. Okay. That's just say, for an example, you have an Israelite man that's married to an Israelite woman. Okay. And they both have a child together. Again, according to Numbers 1 and 18, the father determines the nationality of that child. And so that child that Israelite man and that Israelite woman would have together would be an Israelite. Okay. Now, let's just say, that Israelite man, the husband passes away, and the Israelite woman, she decides to remarry another Israelite man, which is nothing wrong with that, because here it is, her first husband has passed away, and so therefore she's free, from her first husband, and so she decides to marry another Israelite man, which again is nothing wrong with that. And let's just say if she has a child, okay, with her second husband, okay, that child again is going to be an Israelite, but here it is. She has two children, okay, with two Israelite men. And even though both of her children are Israelites, okay, those children come from two different seed lines because they come from two different men. But again, they're both Israelites, but they come from two different seed lines. And that's what this older Jake was trying to say, okay? Two different seed lines, two different families. But again, the children are both Israelites, but they just come from two different men. And so two different seed lines. Now, here it is. I know a woman, and she appears to be an Edomite, and that's just say for the sake of this lesson, that she's an Edomite. That's just say for the sake of this lesson, she's an Edomite. Now here it is, this woman, that I know. She was in a previous relationship. Her first relationship was with an Edomite man, and she had two children with that Edomite man. Okay, and so her and that Edomite man, I guess they decided to part ways. And so this Edomite woman, she eventually ended up hooking up with a Jake. Okay. And this Jake, he ended up having a child with her as well. And so what this Edomite woman has done is she has basically birthed two nations. Okay. She has birthed Edomite children, and she has also birthed an Israelite child because she ended up having a child with a Jake. Okay. And so she has pretty much birthed two nations. She has birthed two separate bloodlines. Okay. Two separate seed lines, okay, from two different nations. And, and another thing, too, here it is, the scripture even says that, our people are an adulterous generation. And that's true, because here it is. You have Jake, okay, in many cases, okay, Jake, wants to try to sleep with other men's wives and whatnot. Okay, and that right there is just foul. That's disgusting and it's wicked as hell. But you have a lot of Jakes that do this, okay? Also, too, you have a lot of our women. They want to take rides on the car carousel. They want to be with multiple men and whatnot. And that right there is just straight up foul. It's totally going off. It's wicked as hell. Okay, because a woman only supposed to be dealing with one man. But here it is. A lot of our women, they want to deal with multiple men. And as a result of that, you're having a lot of our women, they're having children with multiple men. Okay. And so what they're doing is they're pretty much birthing, multiple seed lines. And, that's just say for, an example, for the sake of this lesson, these women that are doing that, That's just say a woman that's doing this. I mean, that has dealt with multiple men, an Eve that has dealt with multiple men. That's just say those children that she's had with those multiple men. The men are Jake's. Even though the children are Israelites, she's still, birthing multiple seed lines, because she's dealing with different men, and so therefore she's bringing in two different families. She's bringing in multiple families because she's dealing with multiple men. Okay, multiple seed lines. She's birthing multiple seed lines. That's what I'm trying to say. And this happens quite often amongst our people. Okay, because again, the scripture says that our people are an adulterous generation, and and that's true. It's true. And see, and this is another reason why, there's so much disease and everything like that that's prevalent amongst our people. There's disease that's on the rise and whatnot, STDs and whatnot, because of the adultery, that goes on amongst our people. But, back to what this older Jake was saying, he was, correct with what he was saying. Okay. And so, I just thought that I would bring out a quick lesson. I'm going to go ahead and end off here. I hope it was edifying. Once again, I want to give all honor, praises, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, and double honors and respect to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, Kwam Yasharada Nabal Babal. Shalom.